So, in case this is your first time on my channel, my name is Fumlola. I am a double board certified pharmacist, a mom of two, a wife, and I am on a journey to self, like I call it. It is my hope to inspire at least one person to get on their own journey, and if that happens, I would be the happiest person. So, we're talking about elder abuse today. What is elder abuse? Maybe a general description would help us to understand it better. So, when you intentionally do something or not do something in a way that it would cause harm or bad treatment to a senior, somebody usually 60, 65 and above, that's elder abuse. Now, when I say do something or not do something, it means that intentionally cause harm or intentionally withhold non harm causing actions in a way that, this senior person is harmed. So, what are the types of ways that elders are usually abused? I think the biggest way would be neglect. When the person who is their caregiver or supposed to be their caregiver doesn't look after them the way they're supposed to look after them. There's also financial abuse, where monies that are supposed to be theirs are taken away from them or they're not allowed access to their money. There's emotional abuse. Of course, we all know what that is. So it could be physical abuse as well, like hitting them and all that, verbal abuse. It could also be sexual abuse, where some of them are molested or deprived of, like in the cases of much older people with much younger spouses, and they're deprived of sexual satisfaction. Of course, there's also abandonment when a senior person is not looked after or checked on and they just leave them alone. I know that some of us usually say, oh, when a parent is mean or something to their kids and their family, there's a larger chance of abandonment. But this is actually regarded as elder abuse. We'll talk a little bit more about how we can circumvent those issues soon. So, what are the warning signs and how can you tell that something is going on with your parent? Most of the time, there's withdrawal from social scenes, there's been a change in their behavior, maybe they're a bit more quiet, there's poor hygiene, or a slight change to their living conditions. It's not just about calling your parents and just saying, hi, how are you, blah, 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 but actually really checking up on them and having deep conversations with them. Oh, daddy, how are you today? How's the help that you have? How are your meals? Are you eating what you want? Are they feeding you something that's healthy? What did you have for breakfast today? So, if you develop this constant rapport with the elder that is in question, it is easy for you to be able to spot when they're getting abused or if somebody's taking advantage of them. So, before we go ahead to talk about how we can make sure that this doesn't happen to our parents, first of all, who are the people that are actually more prone to this? We've already said people who are older, so 60 and above, people who have comorbidities or they're sick, basically, they have illnesses. So, people who have illnesses that need taken care of, they're long chronic diabetic people, people who have heart conditions, mental conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, then sometimes financial situations. So if your parent is elderly and the people around them know that you're sending them money and they have money all the time, they are also prone to financial elder abuse, right? There's also living situations. So if they're living in an isolated area, maybe it's only them and their caregiver, they are more likely to be abused than people who live in like a community of older people. There's also the issue of sometimes our parents are just too trusting. Those people are also like, so a lot of us have heard of places where our parents who we thought were very rational become so trusting that they're giving money out to like alphas or like clerics or prayer people or pastors in order to pray for their children. And you're wondering, this isn't my mom, what got over her? But I mean, she's getting older. If the money that she has is what is going to help pray for you and protect you, and most of them just feel like, it's not a big deal. Then there's also that issue of managing things. Oh, let them not complain so that the person who's helping them doesn't get taken away, or let them not complain so that you don't feel as if, or they're like, oh, let it not be me that'll take away this person's job. They're not doing so badly and all that. So if that sounds like a situation that your parents could find themselves in, then you want to be really careful and you want to check in on them more frequently. So, how can we make sure that our parents are not getting abused? Like I said, if you're in tandem, right? If you guys talk all the time, if you guys are talking to them, you're asking them, "How are you today?" You're deep questions. You're talking not just, "Oh, mommy, I just said I should check on you. I hope you're okay. All right, I'll talk to you later." And then you feel like you've done your bit as a child. If you're really concerned about them, you want to make sure that you're in sync with them. So you'll be able to detect when they have a change in mood, they're withdrawing, or something is slightly different to them. Then you have to use technology wisely. If you want, you can set up security cameras all around their house. You want to make sure that you have eyes on the ground. So apart from the caregiver, that is, oh yeah, you have to get them a caregiver. So if your parents are already entering into 60, you need to get them a caregiver, somebody to help them around the house, because like it is painful to me to see 60 something year olds cleaning by themselves. They're the ones that are still bending down, laying bed, lifting things. I mean, it's not right, in my opinion, anyway. So, yeah, get them a caregiver. We'll talk about interviewing that caregiver in a little bit. So, make sure that apart from the caregiver, you have eyes on the ground because, I mean, you're not there. So, have eyes on the ground. Somebody that can just pop in on them sometimes and check, apart from your security cameras, right? Because after a while, your caregiver will know where the security camera doesn't cover. And, I mean, that's a loophole that most people explore. So yeah, have eyes on the ground and then make sure you're on top of their finances, right? So you send them a certain amount of money. If you know, for example, that this is what they spend on groceries in a month, make sure you get somebody to do those groceries for them to make sure that the food is actually in the house, right? It's not as if that's going to prevent them from being financially abused, but at least you know that they have food in the house, right? And then you can give them the little bit of extra money. That way, if they are also diverting their money to like clerics and pastors and stuff, it will be a little bit reduced because at least they will eat. Because you'd be surprised that some of our elderly parents, instead of eating, they will send all this money to people who are going to pray for their children, you know? So, yeah, those are some of the ways that we can help to prevent this abuse. So when we want to hire, so okay, what are the other ways that we can make sure that our parents are not getting abused apart from being in contact with them and all that? So hiring a caregiver is one. Also considering putting them in a facility that has other seniors. Now I know that this one is a little bit tricky because where we're from, I mean, they say, Olo, you abandoned your parents for strangers to look after, blah blah blah. But the reality is that sometimes strangers will do the job better, right? Because strangers are getting paid to do this job. So they go at it as a job, not as a favor to you because you're their auntie or their uncle and they're just looking after your mom or your dad, right? I know that in Nigeria these days, there are, facilities that are popping up now. I think there's one that has like chalets that you can just like rent, like paying rent and is a senior facility. In my opinion, elderly people do better with other elderly people, and that's why seniors homes here thrive so well, right? I know seniors facilities where the children see their parents every day, but because they recognize that the parents need special care and they cannot afford a one-on-one home care nurse, they put them in a seniors facility. But they're on top of it, like they are there every day checking on their parents, talking to them and all that, so the parent doesn't feel abandoned. I mean, that's something you can consider. In fact, you can put your mom and your, like, look at that place I'm talking about that has like little chalets. You can rent one for your mom and your dad. So they're together, but they have like home care people who come in every day, check on them, make sure they get their medication, taking their blood pressure, checking their blood sugar. And I mean, that's like really good way to make sure that your parents are being catered for. And of course, in that kind of situation, I'm sure there'll be a CCTV camera where you can check on your parents. And the place has wide grounds where they can take walks, they can play chess, draft, ludo with other, senior citizens. And I feel like it will lift up their spirits. It's just that a lot of our parents might need a lot of convincing to allow them to go to senior facilities because they feel like, oh, you want to go and abandon me in old people's home? I mean, those were the things we had when we were growing up. That don't abandon me in old people's home when I'm old, and stuff like that. So I think that is still a little ways off for a lot of us from at least from the part of the world where I come from, where I was born. So another thing you can also do is to get a live-in caregiver for them. Even if it's not live-in, you can hire home care nurses that do shifts. So you have two people per day. One person would run the morning shift, the other person run the night shift. And when you want to employ these people, please make sure you ask proper questions. Check out their communication skills. They have to be calm. They have to be tolerant because when you're dealing with seniors most of the time, it's like dealing with babies, right? They have to be calm, they have to be tolerant. Also, you need to ask them things like, who have you worked for before? Have you looked after any elderly people? Have you looked after any sick people? Can I get two of your references of people that you have worked for? And please check on those references. Don't just ask them and then let it go. Like, do your findings, do your investigations. I mean, if you want, go on, you can hire a PI. Like, it is that serious, right? Just to make sure that this person that you're hiring to look after your parents is a good person and is not going to abuse them. Now, some of the red flags you can look out for in a caregiver is a caregiver that is always asking for early salary. Please, can I get a loan on my salary? Someone that is always rude, someone that is vague, doesn't answer your questions properly, someone that is disrespectful or snappy. And once you're seeing all those things, if they can be doing that while you're there, imagine what they're doing when you're not there or when you're not watching. So you really want to watch out for that as well. So, what do you guys think about this video on elder abuse? Do you think that your parents are being properly looked after? Do you think that you're on top of things when it comes to their care? Our parents raised us. I mean, some of them were not very good parents, but I mean, I would leave that to you and your ability to forgive and forget. But if, like some of us, you had really amazing parents, it's something that we want to look at, constantly check up on the people that are around them and try to make sure that they're not getting abused or pushed into the corner or managing things, you know. Um, Thank you for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, watch, and share this video with someone that you think might benefit from it. Remember, send something home, watch your parents, look after them, and as a Jesus girl that I am, God will bless you for it. Bye guys. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.